Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you all. Please be seated. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. It's kind of nice to be introduced by your brother. I'm real proud of Jeb. I asked Jeb to take on an important assignment, and that is to travel to the countries that had been hit by the tsunami. He went with Colin Powell. I couldn't think of two better representatives of the United States of America to show the compassionate heart of the people of the United States of America. For those of you who have given your hard-earned dollars to help the victims, I want to thank you for that. I also want to remind you there's a lot of other work to be done at home and around the world. Please don't let your gift to help the tsunami victims shortchange other vital programs to help feed the hungry and provide comfort for those who have been those who need help. But so, Jeb, thanks for doing a good. Looking forward to seeing you in Washington here pretty soon. They'll turn down the bed for you. Steve, thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to talking about the importance of the community college system in the United States and in Florida to help make sure that we train people for jobs. That's what we're here to talk about, how to help people improve their lives. And the community college system is a vital part of a hopeful America. So thanks for having me. I want to thank all the folks who teach here. And I want to thank the folks who put up with my entourage. It's quite large these days. I'm proud to have be traveling in the limo today with Mel Martinez, the new United States Senator. I flew down today with Ender Crenshaw, the fine United States Congressman. And also the mayor came out to say hello, and I appreciate the mayor, Mayor Payton. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you coming. So there I was with the senator, the congressman, the mayor, and the governor, and guess what we talked about? We talked about the importance of Jacksonville, Florida, to the security of the United States of America. And I appreciate so very much the very strong presentation these leaders made about the importance of Mayport. I listened very carefully. I know full well that Jacksonville is the home port that most in the United States Navy want to be based at. I fully understand the importance of Mayport and the Navy to the economy of Jacksonville, Florida. I want to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your willingness to take time out of your schedule to brief me on the realities of the situation here, and I'll take your message back to Washington, D.C. I want to thank John Wynn, the Commissioner of Education from this great state of Florida. Do what the governor tells you to do. I want to thank... Isn't that what you told me to say, Jeff? Yeah. I want to thank David Armstrong, the Chancellor of the Community Colleges and of Workforce Education. I want to thank all the state and local officials who are here. I want to thank our panelists. I think you're going to find some interesting stories here. I'm going to try to tell you something about education. They can tell you firsthand some of them can tell you firsthand what it's like to go to school at a community college. I think you're going to find it fascinating. I certainly did during our discussion. I met a fellow named Steve Miller who mentors low-income high school students and helps them prepare for college. Where are you, Steve? There he is right there. Thanks for coming out. Listen, he is a volunteer. And one of the important, the strength of America is the heart and soul of our citizens. I mean, we like to talk about our military being, representing the strength of America, and it does to a certain extent, and the size of our wallets representing the strength of America. But the true strength of the United States of America lies in the hearts and souls of our citizens. And I want to thank Steve for taking time out of his life to mentor a child. I mean, it's a fantastic gift, and I appreciate the example you have set. And if you want to serve our country, love your neighbor just like you'd like to be loved yourself. We got a lot on the agenda. Obviously, winning the war on terror is still on my mind. And I want to appreciate those of you who wear our nation's uniform for your sacrifice and for joining our great country's cause of freedom. We will stay on the hunt to bring killers to justice before they hurt us. In the long run, we will defeat the enemy by spreading freedom. And it's been a remarkable 3 months for freedom around the world. People in Afghanistan voted for a president. People in the Palestinian territory voted for a new leader. And on January the 30th, amazingly enough, the people of Iraq will be going to the polls to elect leadership that will guide this country forward. And I'm so optimistic about the future because I believe deep in everybody's soul is the desire to live in a free world. I know that mothers of all religions want to raise their child in a peaceful society, and I firmly believe that the more freedom spreads, the more peace will spread. And so I want to thank those in the military for helping us to achieve a grand mission during historic times. At home, we've got to keep this economy growing. And that's why we're going to keep the taxes low. I'm looking forward to Congress to passing a smart budget, one that recognizes we got to be wise about how we spend your money and deal with our deficit. I'm looking forward to Congress to make sure that, working with Congress to make sure America is the best place for the small business to grow and flourish. That means we need legal reform, we need class action reform, asbestos reform, and medical liability reform. I mean, we got a lot to do. I noticed we got some younger folks here today. There you go. Yeah, I can't help but look at you and realize we have a responsibility to do something about Social Security. Now, if you're retired, you don't have anything to worry about Social Security because you're going to get your check. You know, you can forget about the old days of saying, well, you know, if they talk about Social Security, I'm not going to get my check. The Social Security Trust has got plenty of money in it to take care of those who have retired or near retirement. But if you're a youngster in America, you better understand that by the time, if you're in the 20s and by the time you retire, if nothing is done about Social Security, the system will be bust. In other words, there won't be anything available for you. And so I'm going to work with Congress to take on this big problem. We have a problem, and now is the time to fix it. The longer we wait, the harder it is to fix it. And we have a duty to the youngsters of America to make sure the retirement system is available for them. And we have a duty to continue to make sure every child is educated in this country. There are some I've heard that say, well, maybe we ought to change the No Child Left Behind Act. Forget it. The No Child Left Behind Act is working. We've set high standards. We believe every child can learn, and we're going to measure to make sure that every child is learning. And when they're not, we'll correct problems early before it's too late. And here in Florida, I can't tell you how proud I am of Jeb and his education initiatives because they're so hopeful. He, like others, just refuses to shuffle kids through the system without making sure there's excellence available for every child. And so I look forward to continuing the education reform, the spirit of high standards to the high school systems in America. I want to work with Congress to get some positive initiatives passed because we have a duty in the country to make sure that the next generation not only has a retirement system but is educated and literate. Now, to make sure America is the most competitive place in the world, the best place to do business, place where people can work, got to make sure education systems actually educate willing workers for the jobs which exist. And that's why I'm here at the community college system today. The community college system is flexible. It is available. It's got the ability to change a curriculum to meet the needs. It's the demand-driven education system, which works. I believe government ought to fund that which works and defund that which does not work. And the community college system is viable. And that's why, I worked with Congress to get $250 million passed last time. It's still in the budget for this time. I'm looking forward to working with Mel and Ander to make sure the community college programs, the job training programs, really what they are, remains viable. You see, it used to be that they'd say to states, just go educate people. And so all that mattered was the number of people educated. Now we're saying educate people for jobs which exist so that you're actually helping people, not conforming to an empty bureaucratic standard. And that's why, since the community colleges are able to do that, I'm confident in encouraging our Secretary of Labor to continue moving forward with high-growth job training initiative grants. I know you've received some from the federal government. I think it's about $4 million worth. It's money well spent. I can confidently tell the taxpayers that the money spent here is making a difference. Somebody else is going to tell you who's got more authority on the subject than I do. That's the person who runs the school. I want to talk about an interesting program that I'm going to submit to Congress here real quickly, and that is how to make sure the Pell Grants work better. Pell Grants are really important. Pell Grants make it possible for people to go to school who otherwise won't go to school. And we're about to talk to some Pell Grant recipients here. We've added about 1 million students in the last 4 years to the Pell Grant program. I think that is money really well spent. I'm going to reform the student loan program to make it more, or ask Congress to reform it, to make it more effective and efficient, and thereby saving money. We've got a unique way of saving money, and that saved money from the administration of the student loan program will be plowed into the Pell Grant program. There's a $4.3 billion shortfall in the Pell Grant program. We intend to use the savings from changing how student loans are granted and administered to closing that deficit. We want to increase the Pell Grants by $100 a year, over $100 per year over the next 5 years. We want to continue to say to students who take rigorous course loads throughout Florida and the country that when you do so and you qualify for a Pell Grant, you'll get an extra $1,000 on your Pell Grant. In other words, we want to raise the standards and provide incentives for people to aim high in life. And that's what the Pell Grants can be used for. And so I'm looking forward to Congress to get this new program and initiative in place. And finally, I know many of you here are involved with the Workforce Investment Act. It needs to be reformed. It needs to be changed so more people are trained. Right now, the Workforce Investment Act trains about 200,000 people. I think with some reasonable reforms, some flexibility in the program, less prescription by the United States Congress on how the program is administered, we can double the number of people trained under the Workforce Investment Act for the same amount of money. And that's what we intend to work with Congress on doing. So that's what I'm here to talk about. What Congress how we can work together to make sure this community college system is viable and vibrant, but really to make sure people can find work. That's what it is. Make sure the education system focuses on the needs of the students. Government can help. The federal government can help. But it's going to require a collaborative effort between the federal government, the state government, the local government. That's why I'm so proud that Susan Paragas is with us today. What do you do?
I work for your brother.
That's a heavy lift. Fine lad, but it's a heavy lift.
I'm the director for the Agency for Workforce Innovation, and we are really trying here at the local level and at the state level to make sure that we marry the jobs, as you described, in the marketplace, that we have the students coming out of the education system with the skills and the training that they need at the job site.
Right. And so give us some idea of what you and brother are doing to
We're doing a
make
couple
sure the
of
community
things.
college, how do you help the community college system?
We do a couple of things. We, at the local level, or at the state level, your brother has just announced one of the largest increases in his budget recommendation for community colleges that we have known within the state. And at the federal level, we totally echo exactly what you're saying, President Bush. We want to see that federal funding be flexible. We see that we can train a lot more people if we can cut down on the administration. And if we're given that flexibility at the state level, given to the governor, he will determine exactly where we need those dollars within the state of Florida and use them appropriately.
Yes, this is a really important point. Government tends to change incrementally, and as it does, there's another set of rules and another set of regulations, and then sure enough, after a while, you wake up and the money's got a lot of strings to it. And which makes it hard for governors and Susan to do their job. And so one of the things this administration will do throughout our budget, but in particular today we're talking about the Workforce Investment Act, is to provide as much flexibility as possible. That way we can say with certainty to the taxpayer, we're results-oriented people. As opposed to focusing on the process, we think government ought to focus on the results and give flexibility to those who are charged with making sure we achieve results. And so I want to appreciate you bringing up the flexibility issue. I look forward to working with the Congress to provide as much flexibility as possible. It's very important for those who write the law to understand you've got to make sure you align authority and responsibility. And a good way to do so at the federal level is to pass the power back to those who were holding responsible for spending the money. Thank you for bringing it up.
Thank you very much.
You got anything else? I notice you're on the President's National Hire Veterans Committee. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for letting me serve. I would tell you that we work with our veterans on a daily basis within the state of Florida. We think they're very strong candidates for the job community, and we're glad to have them.
You got a lot of great veterans here in the Jacksonville area, I know that. Okay, speaking about aligning authority and responsibility, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
Steve Wallace. How long have you been here?
7.5 years, Mr. President.
Great. Let her rip. Here's your chance to tell us.
Well, first of all, Mr. President, on behalf of the 60,000 students and 4,000 employees of Florida Community College, we welcome you here. We are thrilled.
1,000?
Yes, sir.
That's good. That's a lot.
That's true. I also want to thank you for your extraordinary support of America's Community College.
Well, thanks for saying that. I appreciate that. I'm proud to do so. You know why? Because they work.
And we're getting better all the time.
That's good. So give us a sense for, what has changed? What do you see in your future? Why are 60,000 people coming here? It's a pretty good sign when that many people have made a conscious decision to come to your school. Something must be going right.
Mr. President, this is a place where dreams come true, really important dreams. We have crafted this college in collaboration with our local workforce board, our great Chamber of Commerce, our phenomenal employer community, our state agencies, which are represented here today, to provide a portal to our students to the new economy and a highly effective response to the constantly emerging workforce needs of our local employers. We have about 25,000 students that are on the traditional path to university transfer, and I can tell you they do extraordinarily well when they transfer on to the university. We've got about another 25,000 that are in our career and technical programs, which are virtually all focused on high demand, high wage, high skill occupations that are closely aligned with the human capital requirements of our employers. And that's really the payoff for our community and our students in that collaboration, which, by the way, Lieutenant Governor Jennings describes Jacksonville as the model in Florida for collaboration. we have been able to work together to ensure that when our students graduate from our programs, they have fantastic opportunities, and it elevates not only their quality of life, but the quality of life in our community.
Now, so how do you know, I mean, you got an employer here in the community, how do you know what skill set the employer is looking for? I mean, how do you get that input, and then what do you do with it?
We have about 215 career and technical programs, and every one of those programs has an employer advisory committee that meets with our program leadership and faculty on a regular basis. In addition, all of our programs have work-based learning components where our students are out in the real world doing internships, and so we have constant interaction with our employer community. They're constantly providing input to us in terms of their changing needs, and we have the commitment to be responsive immediately to those needs, because if we do that well, our students are going to enjoy awesome opportunities.
It's pretty interesting, isn't it, when you think about it? So you get a group of employers come to the community college and say, here's what we're looking for. And the community college is able to adjust its curriculum, which is sometimes hard to do in the educational world, adjust its curriculum to meet the needs. That's what you're saying, I think.
Absolutely.
Whew, got it right. All right. You got anything else you want to tell me why you got me? Never mind. Should we go to Eric? You ready?
Yes, sir.
Eric, where do you go to school?
I currently attend Florida Community College in Jacksonville.
Fabulous.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit, I'm not going to ask you how old you are.